They never told you this, but your power wasn't stolen. You gave it away. Not with a scream, not with a fight, but slowly, quietly, and over time. With every yes when you meant no. With every fake smile, every moment you made yourself small just to make others comfortable. From the moment you were born, the world began shaping you, not into who you are, but into who they wanted you to be. They taught you that power is selfish, that obedience is good, that pleasing others is the key to belonging, so you played along, and slowly, you forgot who you were. This isn't a story about becoming powerful. It's a story about remembering that you already are. Why do we believe that someone else knows better than we do? That some voice out there holds the truth of who we are? We look up to leaders, gurus, teachers, influencers. We ask them what to believe, how to live, even who to be. And in doing so, we abandon ourselves. But here's the truth. No one has the blueprint to your soul. No one walks your path but you. Nietzsche warned us about this. He called it slave morality, where people trade their strength for comfort, where obedience becomes a virtue, and power is feared. Religions offered salvation, if you obey. Governments promised safety, if you comply. Social media offers approval, if you conform. But every time you seek permission, you reinforce the lie that your truth lives outside of you. There is no higher voice than your own, not the voice of society, not the voice of tradition, not even the voice of fear. You are not a follower in your own life. You are the source. So what is real power? It's not force. It's not control. It's not the ability to dominate or win. Real power is presence. It's the quiet knowing that you are here, awake, aware, and free. It's the ability to respond, not react, to choose instead of obey, to observe, rather than absorb. The moment you realize you've been conditioned, you begin to break free. The moment you witness your own patterns, you stop being ruled by them. Carl Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming whole, not by following the world, but by reclaiming the parts of yourself you were taught to hide. In Buddhist thought, attachment creates suffering, but power lives in non-attachment, in choosing not to be pulled by every wave, in becoming the ocean beneath them. You don't find your power in the world. You remember it, in stillness, in silence, in the moment you finally hear yourself again. This is not motivation. This is awakening. You were never powerless. You were just distracted. Even after we see the truth, we still give our power away. Not because we're weak, but because it's easier. It's easier to stay quiet than to be rejected. It's easier to be liked than to be real. It's easier to follow the path they gave us than to walk alone. But here's the cost. Every time you betray your truth for comfort, you pay in silence, in anxiety, in emptiness. We trade authenticity for approval and wonder why we feel lost. You've felt it, that quiet ache, when you say yes, and your body screams no, the tension, when you smile while your soul grieves. This is how it happens. Not with big moments, but with small compromises. Repeated every day, Viktor Frankl wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. But you cannot change if you're busy pretending. You cannot be free if you keep abandoning yourself." The art way back is brutal, it's honest, and it starts with one question: where have I been lying to myself? No is a holy word. It's the sound of your soul drawing a line. It's the moment your truth becomes louder than your fear. We've been taught that saying no is selfish, but the truth is, saying yes when you mean no is the real betrayal. You don't owe anyone your time. You don't owe them your energy. You don't owe them your silence. Power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet refusal to be controlled. In ancient tribes, boundaries were spiritual, sacred space around the self. In Stoic philosophy, power meant inner mastery, not over others but over your own reactions. Modern trauma theory echoes this. Safety is not about controlling the world. It's about honoring your limits. You don't need to explain your no. You don't need to apologize. No is a complete sentence, and sometimes it's the most spiritual thing you can say. So what guides you when you stop outsourcing your life? The answer is quiet, subtle, easily ignored, but always there. It's your intuition, your inner knowing, the feeling in your gut, the whisper in your chest, the energy behind your breath. You don't have to figure it all out. You just have to listen. The ancient oracles of Greece didn't give commands. They asked questions. Indigenous wisdom tells us that the body is not an obstacle, it's an antenna. Modern science agrees the gut is a second brain. Somatic intelligence, the wisdom of the body, often knows the truth before the mind does. But we've been taught to ignore it, to override it, to trust noise over silence. Power returns when you start trusting yourself. Not your thoughts, not your emotions, but that deep, calm voice underneath it all. That's your compass. It's not loud, but it never lies. Most people think power is about control. But what if it's about creation? What if, the moment you stop obeying the world starts responding to you? The ancient Hermetic teachings said, as within, so without. Quantum physics echoes this. Observation affects reality. Your attention is not passive, it's creative. When you reclaim your mind, you reshape your world. When you stop reacting, you start choosing. You're not a puppet of fate. You're a co-creator of reality. This is the shift. From fear to freedom, from victim to vessel. What will you build now that you remember who you are? So now you stand in front of the mirror, not the mirror of glass, but the mirror of your life. Every compromise, every silence, every truth you buried, but also every choice you now hold, every moment you get to reclaim. What happens? When you stop apologizing for existing, you stop shrinking, you stop chasing, you stop waiting for permission, you breathe deeper, speak clearer, stand taller. You begin to live as if your soul matters, because it does. This is not about ego, it's about essence. You were never here to be controlled. You were never here to be small. You came here to remember what they tried to make you forget. That you are powerful, because you are awake, because you are aware, because you are you. You're not powerless, but every day, you give your power away. Not because someone takes it from you, but because you hand it over quietly, without even noticing. You shrink when someone disapproves. You hesitate when your truth doesn't match the crowd. You seek validation, attention, permission. And in those small moments, something sacred is lost. It's not your job. It's not your relationship. It's not the world holding you back. It's you abandoning your own power in exchange for safety. But here's the twist. Power isn't something you chase. It's something you remember. The real question is, when did you forget who you are? To understand why we give away our power, we have to look back. Way back. Long, before smartphones, before governments, before modern society, humans lived in tribes, in nature, close to the earth, close to instinct, close to inner truth. But then came civilization. Laws, hierarchy, control. Systems needed order, and order needed obedience, so we were taught to obey, to seek approval, to follow rules written by others. It wasn't always loud. It was quiet, like whispers in a dream. Religion said your worth comes from above. Schools said your value is your grades. Governments said trust the system, not yourself. And little by little, we forgot. We forgot how to trust our inner voice. We forgot what power really means. As Michel Foucault once said, power is everywhere because it comes from everywhere. But instead of learning how to hold, we learned how to fear it because real power doesn't make you easy to control. But let's be honest, even now you still choose weakness sometimes, not because you want to, but because it feels safe. There's a silent contract we all sign. I'll stay small if it means I won't be rejected. We trade authenticity for approval, truth for comfort, power for protection. But here's the secret. We're not afraid of our weakness. We're afraid of what happens when we step into our strength. We're afraid of being seen, of standing alone, of being responsible for our choices. As Marianne Williamson said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. This is the paradox. The mind craves safety, but the soul craves power, and one must be sacrificed for the other. So ask yourself, what are you protecting by staying small? Here's what no one tells you. Power is not force. It's not about shouting louder, or winning arguments, or proving yourself. True power is quiet, still, centered. It's alignment. When your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all move in the same direction, you don't need to force anything. You become unstoppable. This is what the Taoists called